Okay, this is going to be the final installment of the series that I'm doing on my method of tarot. I've covered, the primary elements: psychic tarot, intuitive tarot, and supernatural tarot. If you're just watching this, you might want to, and you haven't seen the others, you might enjoy them. I pretty much express how I go about doing a read, and by breaking it up into those elements. I do those all simultaneously, except for the last one, the supernatural. That is something that I have to basically stop everything and do that as a meditation. But what I wanted to discuss is what is the goal of doing a tarot read? What's the point? And this is one of these things that, like I say, there are different styles, and some people definitely do the life coaching and throw that in there, and that's not a bad thing. A lot of people, I think, who request tarot reads are in need of life coaching, or else they wouldn't be going to a tarot reader in the first place. I do that myself, but in an intuitive manner. I won't replace reading with life coaching, but I will read and answer the questions, and then after I've answered the question with the read, then I might offer some element of life coaching. And I think this is important to me because I've I feel that if the querent is asking a question in a tarot read, they should always be told what the cards say about that question. And so that's one thing that I'm very, very firm about. Another thing that I'm very firm about is that the goal is to answer the questions, and to not necessarily give a literal answer. Some questions aren't easy to answer, but even better than answering the question is giving the tools and knowledge and perspective so that the querent can view the question in a new light. And not that you tell them the answer, but you tell them the information that allows them to realize the answer. Because somebody having the realization for themselves is far more powerful than somebody telling you what to do. And so I always try to use, psychology and neuro-linguistic programming and those elements of communication, so that the goal is to have the person realize the answer to their question. Sometimes it's not that easy, and sometimes it is just interpreting what the cards say and saying, well, this is what the cards say, but I'm also free to use my intuition. And I'll say, well, the cards are saying this, but my intuition is telling me this. And that ideally opens up a dialogue. Or if not, depending on how the read is given, I'm presenting two sides of a coin. And so, as a tarot reader, I believe, as I explained about intuition and psychic ability and supernatural ability, I believe that it's important to inform the querent, not just give them an answer, but to inform them what the answer is based on. The goal is not to show how psychic I am or how much supernatural ability I have. And I will tell them up front, there may be a psychic or supernatural event, there may not. The goal is to get your question answered in the best way that I can. I've seen readers do this. I see them try doing, I don't care if the person is impressed with me or not. And I'm finding out that the less I care about whether the querent is impressed or not, the more impressed they usually are. Another thing that I tell querents is I say, if you come to the tarot table with skepticism, your skepticism will be rewarded by that thought being satisfied. But on the other hand, if you come to it with blind faith, willing to accept anything you're told, to me that's even worse. And I've had reads like that. I've had reads where I've said, I'm seeing a red convertible, when I do the psychic supernatural thing. Is there a red convertible somehow in your life that might be affecting your question? And I'll say, well, my brother bought a maroon car, but it's not a convertible. And well, that's not what I saw. And then at the end of the read, this person was like, well, hey, and you made the connection about the car. And I'm like, not really. Because, I'm not going to try and impress somebody, try to take the vision that I saw and shoehorn it into their perspective. And people, it's amazing because there's a certain number of skeptics out there, but there's a certain number of people who want to be so convinced that they will work super hard to make everything I say super significant. And that's worse than skepticism. So I tell the querent, you want to come to this with an open mind. Not blind faith, not skepticism, but just an open mind. And remember, I may be wrong. And I've noticed that when people come and they're frivolous or they're just doing it for fun or entertainment or whatnot, that doesn't usually matter. But when people come with a problem they really want help with, and you tell them that, and you're that open and that honest, you may not be impressing them that you're the greatest tarot reader in the world, but you are impressing them with the fact that you're a genuine person. And if you read the way I do, that's important because that builds trust and that builds a part of the connection. And when you make that connection, the psychic thing is easier, the supernatural thing is easier, the healing thing is easier, the intuition is easier, because you've made that connection, you've made that bond. And also, if you're new to reading, you'll be shocked at the things people tell you. I've been told things that people wouldn't share with their own spouse. And so you got to keep a certain level of confidentiality about how you do this. So, like I said, I just wanted to share what I believe the goal is. The goal is always to answer the question, and ideally, if you can make the person realize the answer. You want to establish that trust. You want to make, and you want to be honest too. So, the last thing I ever want somebody to leave, I always ask them if they're satisfied. I always want to make sure that they got what they feel, the experience, an experience, worthy of their time. And ideally, I want to make sure that they're satisfied with their answer. So it's not to impress people. It's not to prove how psychic you are. It's not to do any of those things. In my opinion, the goal of doing a tarot read is to answer a question. Okay, so I think we're going to end this whole thing on tarot. I think I'll move on to other subjects for my next videos. But like I said, I've been wanting to do this for a while. And just have a heart-to-heart with anybody who's willing to listen to my videos. And I don't, oh, and one more thing I wanted to mention. I don't necessarily do tarot reads for money, but I still collect money. When I go out and I do them live, I put a jar out, a little wine glass or something, and people put money in. A big snifter was what I got, actually. But the reason being, if people don't contribute something, they don't have an investment. And I found that if I just go and do reads for free, people are frivolous, and even the ones who aren't frivolous don't have an investment. You put a glass out and somebody puts $1 in it, you know they're not that serious. You put a glass out and someone puts a $5 bill or a $10 bill, that's, that's not just a frivolous gratuity. That's, that's a nice little chunk, particularly the places I go, because it's not a lot of well-to-do people. And I can always tell that that person is going to be more serious, and they usually are more focused, and they've made the investment. So there's that connection too. So I wanted to mention that. If you can get the person, the querent, to have an investment in it, it makes, a lot more sense. But at this point, I don't charge for reads. I take donations like that, and I don't do. There's another video I made about phone psychics and why I'm not comfortable doing them on the phone, doing the reads on the phone. But I am available for reads. But at this point, not for frivolous curiosity seekers. But if you have a serious issue that you want help with, by all means, we could set up a meeting on Skype or something like that. And it's not, like I say, I've got a good job now. I'm not doing it for money. So, by all means, check me out. Check out my my other videos. Check out my website, and hopefully this series has been something that people will get something out of. Okay? Peace.